The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And good morning to you. Here it is, August number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017, which means it's Friday. Welcome to Freedom Friday. Yes, indeed. We are here on a Friday, which means it is Freedom Friday, Open Mic Friday. Just about anything goes. 603-835-3226. That is the number to call should you wish to join me here live here on the program this morning and talk about just about anything you want to. We like to take things a little bit lighter on a Friday as we slide on into the weekend to try to celebrate what we hope is an ongoing increase in our freedom. That's what we're hoping for. Yes, indeed. So, welcome to Friday, folks. The fastest week here is right here. Fastest week in Internet Talk Radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Glad that you are with me this morning. We are just about ready to have a wonderful, really good show. We're about to have a really good show here. Who used to do it like that? Somebody on late night TV, right? Really good show. Maybe it wasn't. Isn't the what's his name? He was the guy that did. He had the Beatles on and he had Elvis on, and they only shot Elvis from the waist up because Elvis is gyrating hips. You know who I'm talking about. People. Well, maybe you don't know. No, I think Carson was imitating somebody else, somebody who was before Carson, actually. But anyway, yeah. Carson did do that. He did say it, but I think it was somebody else. What was his? Oh, for crying out loud. Yes, thank you, Dom. Sullivan, Ed Sullivan. That's it. The Ed Sullivan Show. Boy, sometimes I tell you, I can't. I know what things are and people are, and sometimes the name of it just escapes me for whatever reason. Anyway, must be summer. I have my mind on other things, or God forbid, maybe I'm becoming a liberal Democrat, and facts don't matter. Oh, dun dun dun! That's how the left would win if they somehow had a ray gun that turned us all in the right into big raging lunatic lefties. Don't think they're probably not working on that. Well, maybe not a ray gun, but maybe that's why there's so many people that need so-called mental assistance, mental help, and they have so many psychotherapeutic drugs being prescribed in this country. Anybody ever wonder about that? Why we have so many people on psychotherapeutic drugs? It's so easy to diagnose somebody with, say, depression or manic depressive or any number of different normal things. And people that really do have an issue really have to suffer because of it, because they're ignored or they're not properly treated, because everybody's got a mental issue. There were some numbers that I saw not too long ago. A third of all Americans are currently under the quote unquote care of a mental health professional. I understand that what they talk about is like, you just go to a therapist because you need to vent. Whatever happened to just talking to a friend? We have to pay somebody now. One of the people in the mental health field, they're a lot like lawyers. There's too many of them. And so, because there's so many of them, they have to be able to make a living. So they'll increase, the number of people that need to see them. If you're unhappy at work, then it must be because of a childhood trauma. And you need to spend 6 months to a year talking to a mental health professional about it. If you seem to be a person who doesn't has trouble coping in public for whatever reason, then you need to see a therapist or a psychoanalyst. There's so many different kinds of mental health professionals. There's a therapist, a psychoanalyst, the psychologist, a psychiatrist. Now, a psychiatrist is actually an MD. A psychologist is not. A psychologist can actually prescribe drugs. So we have a lot of people that are. They see these wonderful, psychotherapy. I've never liked talking to. I had a friend who was a psychotherapist. And a psychologist. He wasn't a psychiatrist. He was a psychologist. And I think the difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist is a psychiatrist is an actual MD and a psychologist is not. I could be wrong in that. I'm not sure. But in any case, I used to hate talking to him because I always felt he was trying to get into my head. Now, maybe he wasn't, and that was just my own defenses. But you get her. I don't know how these people actually have friends, because they seem to be just simple questions. They always seem to be probing to get in your head. Well, you should probably come and see me on a regular basis there, Rod. No, I don't need to see you on a regular basis. I'm perfectly fine, normal, whatever normal is supposed to be. But look, there are people that do need mental help. But not nearly as many people as seek it and get it. Well, how do you tell? Well, I'm not a mental health professional, but I think it's pretty simple. There are people that you just can't help either. There are certain people you just can't help. They're sick mentally, but you just can't. You can't help pedophiliacs. You can't help them. I don't know what it is about them, but there's something that was just wrong from the get-go with them. You're not going to be able to. Do we have drugs that can? I don't think we have. Well, I guess you can give them saltpeter, right, to turn off their. Do we do that when we release convicted pedophiles from jail? Sure, we say that they can't live, within so many feet of a school or playground or something like that. But do we turn off their urge or try to calm it down in a way? Are they forced to take saltpeter or anything like that? I'm wondering. I don't know. I know there are people out there that say, well, we should just cut off their gonads. Well, you make them a eunuch? That would probably work, but you would have too many people that would say that would be cruel and unusual punishment. I don't. Frankly, if they're gonna be, well, we got to be careful because we tend to do this more and more today with the laws that we have in place that they're being used for what they were not intended to be used for, and we're calling certain people that are pedophiles who really aren't. For example, this is happening a lot today. Well, you could blame parents for this partly, but this is happening a lot today. You have two teenagers. They're in high school. They're dating each other, and usually it's the boy is older than the girl. So you have a senior boy, and maybe you have a sophomore or junior girl. Well, the senior boy all of a sudden turns 18, and these two have been probably getting it on for a little while, as teenagers often do. And all of a sudden, the boy turns 18, and he's still having sex with his under 18 age girlfriend. Now he gets arrested for having sex with a minor. And he gets labeled a pedophile. That's a misuse of the law in my book. So you got to be careful how you label this kind of stuff, I guess. But the laws really need to be changed and really need to focus on people who really are doing harm to kids. And I don't. Maybe just making them a eunuch is really the only way. But the fear is that the law will be misused and misconstrued as it is today. And some poor 18-year-old who's only trying to date his 16 or 17-year-old girlfriend is going to get caught up in this, and before you know it, he's been chopped up. And don't tell me it won't happen, because it would. It would. That's just the way it works. Because politics gets involved. And you have too many people, men and women, you have too many people who want to further their career by ruining somebody else's life. It doesn't matter if the person is really guilty of the law or they're following the intent of the law or not, as long as they gain points with the public so they can, prosecutors, well, they want to someday they want to be senator or governor or something, and they'll do this. We know that they do this stuff. We know. So maybe maybe we just need to have term limits, real term limits for everything. Yeah, for every elected official. And no, you can't. And I mean, when I say real term limits, what I mean is you cannot. Well, let's take on a national level, Congress. Let's just say we want to have term limits or 2 terms, no matter whether you're a congressman or a senator. Just 2 terms. That's it. 2 terms might be 12 years, I guess, is probably enough. But we should make sure that they're real term limits. In other words, you can't serve 2 terms in the House and then decide, I'm just going to go over and be a senator. Now, how about we just make Congress? It doesn't matter what you are. Well, you can't. I guess you got to take them separately because of because you're only in the House for 2 years, but you're in the Senate for 6. And I can't. I could see possibly having 3-term limits in the House because that's 6 years, but I can't see having 3-term limits in the Senate because that's 18. So we'd have to work that out somehow. But you shouldn't be able to just bounce and bounce and bounce without ever being forced back into the public. The reason for term limits is forcing people back into the private sector. They got to be in the private sector. They can't. The problem is that we have too many career politicians, career elected officials. They just keep going up the so-called political ladder. There'll be a state representative, then a state senator, then maybe governor, or they'll skip governor and go right to a House of Representatives and then the Senate, and they just keep going and going and going. That's got to stop. It's great to say that they're in it for public service, but it's not public service when you do that kind of crap. I'm sorry, it's not. We've got to have. Look, we're a nation of 320 million people. You can't tell me out of a nation of 320 million people that only a few thousand people across this country can run our various levels of government and be elected to certain positions. I mean, that's just asinine. In fact, I highly believe that we have so much talent in this country, but we make it so difficult for people to get involved in such a way as to be an elected official. We make it so difficult that the best and brightest in our nation who could run and serve and do a fantastic job don't even bother. So we get stuck with the garbage that we have. You know, I heard a person once say, well, yeah, you know, if you can't make it in the private sector and get a real job, then you just go and get yourself elected. You screw people over and you convince them that the only thing that you're the best one for the job if they only elect you. The reality is that you could never get hired. This is the truth. Most of our elected officials could never get hired in the equivalent job in the private sector. Do you realize that? Now let me repeat that. Most of our elected officials, if you were to find the equivalent private sector job, they would be unqualified for that private sector job position and would never get hired. Yet we elect them to those kinds of positions, and not only do we elect them once, we tend to elect them over and over and over again. Let me ask you, what kind of job do you think that John McCain would be eligible for in the private sector? Anything equivalent to a U.S. senator? Oh, hell no. Nobody would hire him, which is why he's always stayed in the Senate. Just saying.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shave brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra long extension cord, you can move around well, primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Alvon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
603-835-3226. Got a lot to go over and cover with you this Friday morning. Don't forget it is Freedom Friday, which is basically Open Mic Friday for those of you who are new to the program. Got a story here. I got this quote here. I found it in a used book. And it's a bookmark from the American Chesterton Society from G.K. Chesterton. Now, who is G.K. Chesterton? G.K. Chesterton was better known as Gilbert Keith Chesterton. He was an English writer and poet. He was born in 1874 and died 1936 in the United Kingdom. Born in London and passed away in Beaconsfield, United Kingdom. Kind of a lay person, lay theologian, if you will. But there is a quote by him: "The Christian ideal has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried." Now, this is so true in just about every aspect that's decent in life. There are a lot of paths that people can take in life. And the good, honest paths, like the Christian ideal, the Judeo-Christian ethic ideal, not Islamic, that's just evil. Those paths are rarely followed. Not because they don't work, because they do, but they're extremely difficult. And human beings, being human beings, we tend to be kind of, we like to take the easier route. So it's a good quote. U.S. jobs were created last month to the tune of some 209,000 in July versus 183,000 that were expected. The U.S. economy added some 209,000 jobs in July, and the unemployment rate dipped to 4.3%, according to government reports this morning. The report comes with the economy at a crossroads as President Trump has promised a 3% economic growth. And if you continue to add these kinds of numbers into the employment rolls, you're going to start heating things up and heating up the economy, and it's going to start, you got to be everybody's, because if people are working, that means they're going to have money. And if they have money, it means they're going to spend it, because that's what Americans do. We spend money. Like you would not believe. Although we have been better at saving and investing of late. Our savings rate has inched up a bit. That's a good thing. It's a good to look. I know people say we have a consumer society, a consumer economy. That's the best way to grow. No, it's not. Japan for decades after World War II had an investment-based society, not a consumer-based society. And what the hell did they do? They nearly took over the world, economically speaking. Then they kind of switched. Now they're more of a consumer society than they were previously. But hey, investments. I mean, remember when we used to be mad? Every time we turned around, the Japanese were buying, an American real estate icon somewhere, or an American business or something, and now it's China. And the Arabs, the oil-rich Arabs, those people they have cash up the wazoo, let me tell you. We shall continue. Don't go anywhere.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Welcome back, 603-835-3226. Now, I don't know what happened yesterday, but I didn't do anything to try to change everything, but all the studio clocks are in sync to within a couple of seconds of each other. Something happened overnight. I didn't do a damn thing to them, but including the cell phone. They're all the same now. I have no idea why they were all different yesterday, but it really threw me off. Everything is copacetic in the Bunker Eyes studio. I got hit with something, a time warp or a time wave, or something futuristic and science fiction like that. What is it, a time warp? Let's do the time warp again. That's from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I know. Did you ever go to that? Did you ever go to, in my hometown of Syracuse, New York, North Syracuse, actually there's a theater there in Mattydale called Hollywood Theater, and it's still standing, and it's still showing movies. But they had the Rocky Horror, they would show, every year they have this Rocky Horror Picture Show, midnight showing. And you'd go, it was on the weekend, we'd all go roller skating, and I used to do roller skating a lot. And we'd leave, and the rink closed at 11:30 p.m. on a Saturday night. Yeah, I don't know what, do you need kids, 14-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids to be out at 11:30 at night? Well, I guess we were good kids because we could. So the rink would close at 11:30, and we'd go over to the Hollywood Theater to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight. I remember the first time I went there, but my friends were telling me, bring a hoodie, wear a hoodie. Now, I had no idea why you need to wear a hoodie inside a movie theater. I'm like, is it that cold? And we sat up in the front couple of rows, and they said, just follow our lead. And I had no idea what to expect. No idea. And so, then all of a sudden I see them putting up their hoodies or putting, paper hats on top of their heads. So I follow. Next thing I know, there's rice coming over us. There's toast and people have bringing squirt guns. I would not want to have to clean up that theater after a Rocky Horror Picture Show. It was a mess. And you had guys, you had back then, they did the Tim Curry thing. There were 3 of them. That you had the one that was spot on. You had the 2 apprentices on either side, but you had the one that was spot on right in the middle of the stage of the theater, imitating just about exactly what Tim Curry was doing as this sweet transvestite. I think all the shenanigans going around in the audience was probably more interesting than the actual movie, and of course people were speaking at certain in rhythm and some guy that was the guy who was telling the story, and I couldn't hardly hear what he was saying. So they did have dubbing, word dubs at the bottom because you couldn't hear what he's saying because everybody in the audience is like, you don't have no neck, get an effing neck, man, you got no neck, and I'm just like, this is insanity. I proceeded to go back with my friends every year. Every time there's a Rocky. I did it about 4 years in a row. It's hilarious, and it was a fun movie. Tim Curry often, he says it was probably one of the best and worst roles that he ever took. For name recognition, for range of his acting prowess, it was a good role. But as far as being forever known as a sweet transvestite, he probably would not do that again if he had the chance to do it over. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there. But anyway, Hollywood's in trouble this summer. They're not doing as well as they thought. A bunch of movies aren't making as much money as they thought, and there's even a bunch of bombs. But I think that's where I was going with that. But anyway, let's bring on a call here. 731, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. Good morning to you.
Hey, I bet you Trump feels like he walked into a Rocky Horror Picture Show mess.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
You were headed with that. Well, I was just, I wanted to kind of talk about the kangaroo court. I'm going to steal that line from Wayne Dupree. I heard him say that yesterday. Mueller appointed the grand jury yesterday.
Yes, I have that in my paper pile. Yep.
Yep, and it's just a witch hunt that what's really scary is, my understanding is, these people can go back to his birth, whatever he might have done ever in his life. And in some instances, you know, you may not even be able to have counsel in there with you if they choose for you not to. So the thing about it is, you know, the Congress, to me, they've gotten a little too big for their britches, if you ask me, especially McCain and Lindsey Graham. They, and McCain, I think, actually wrote the bill that I read on the bottom of the caption on Fox News yesterday, that it will pass, that Trump would not have the ability to fire Mueller, irregardless of what he does. And, you know, when you're president of the United States, you, I think, you're supposed to be commander-in-chief for a reason.
Yeah, you're the CEO of the executive branch, and they can write all the laws they want. I don't think even with this Supreme Court justice, such a law would withstand Supreme Court scrutiny, because that means that the branches of government are separate in the Constitution, and one shall not encroach on the other. And this kind of a bill would have the legislative branch encroaching on the executive branch, and that's a no-no. I don't think it would stand. Do not think it would stand. I know we could be surprised because, you know, but we don't have Obama in the White House. So I don't think that would stand Supreme Court scrutiny.
Right,
if
I agree with that. But, you know, just like you were talking about that unemployment is 4.3%. Not that I believe those numbers exactly, because I think they've been faked, but the point being that the man is out working hard. I mean, working hard. I've never seen anybody 71 years old to care as much. Even if you watched him speak last night in West Virginia, the governor changed to Republican. That was a pretty telling moment. And
yeah, I got that here in the paper pile. I'll be going over that too. It's kind of interesting how that came about, but yeah, he did switch.
Well, I read last night, and you know, I read this on somebody's site, and I can't tell you exactly what it was, but that Trump and his group were going to be out of the White House for 17 days while they worked on some pipes or so forth. I said, well, maybe they can clean up the darn place, you know, because the Washington Post, I want to get on them for just a second. They had no business. Even if somebody from the high leaked this phone conversation, that's a crime. You shouldn't even be able to repeat that conversation. Somebody's going to have some problems, because the president should be able to speak to any foreign leader with confidence that that's not going to be published in the frickin' newspaper. And the person, and I tweeted this to the Washington Post, they should have to go to court and answer why they felt the need to publish that information. And I don't care if it was Obama, I don't care if it's Bush, I don't care who it was. That should never, that makes our country look week.
Well, that sort of thing, regardless of it, we know why they published it, because they thought it was going to harm Trump. But the problem is that they have such Trump derangement syndrome that they did not realize, because they're such idiots, that doesn't harm just Donald Trump. It harms every president from now on, as well as it prevents other world leaders from having an honest conversation with our president, which he needs to be able to do. And
That's correct.
And they're not going to want to be put in American newspapers for everything that they say, have a full transcript. I mean, there's just what if they had a locker room conversation? They're going to print that too?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they think that makes Trump look incompetent, but I'm just going to tell you something right now. General Kelly, McMaster, all the way down the line, everybody needs a lie detector test. That should have, because it goes back to the NSA, no one should have their conversation unless they choose to let that out. That should not have been leaked into the newspaper. The Washington Post, shame on you. I will never read that paper again if it's the last words I'm ever allowed to read in my life. But it's shameful what happened.
Well, it's Jeff Bezos' publication, so.
Well, one day we need to talk about the NDAA. We're going to talk about that. I'm studying up on that. And that comes to, everybody ought to know what that is. If you don't, go look it up. You can Google it. It's on WikiLeaks. Not WikiLeaks, but whatever that other Google it. Because it's important. And this is, it all ties back into this conversation.
Wikipedia.
Not WikiLeaks. Wikipedia, exactly. But that's very interesting. Read up on that. The National Defense Amendment Act. Go back and read up where that was amended in 2012 and 2016 to be active for 2017. It affects our First Amendment rights, folks.
Yeah. So they've been trying to backdoor a lot of stuff to strip our rights away. For attack the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in a backdoor way. And I hate to say it, but the Patriot Act is one of those backdoor ways, and it succeeded. And
it is. You're right. And that was not for our safety. That was so they could snoop and watch over their domestic.
Yeah, that seemed to work, didn't it? Because we see that the NSA and CIA and FBI and now yesterday we had the FBI release a rule that we may have your biometric data. We don't got to tell you.
Right. Right. We can put something in your hat and follow you around if you don't take your cell phone with you.
So it's all in place. What's the wonderful book that everybody had to read in high school? Animal Farm. The quote in Animal Farm. Well, some people are more equal than others, and if you're not a part of that elite group, then you're not the same.
Well, I'm telling you what. There's more lines, more of us than there are the elite. And you know what? I'm telling you, they're going to be inundated with a bunch of patriots up there in those halls real soon if they don't watch their selves. Because term limits, I think it should be get them out in 2 years. I'm just about like, and we should have the will to fire them. We're the one paying their we pay taxes to pay them. They shouldn't be the one writing bills up there, and we don't know what they're putting in it. And the newspaper's squishing it because they're paid to squish it,
Yeah, that's true. No, unless it has to do with national security, every bill should. Whatever happened, I thought they were going to release bills now as before they went to the floor for what was it, 48 hours or something, so people will have time to. I think that should be a requisite. That the bill must be released to the public in full Unless it's a national emergency or national security, it must be released in full before they can even debate it.
I think there should be a web page where you go on every day and check laws that are up for vote. I mean, maybe that's a solution because, you know what, the people need to wake up because, look at Venezuela. And I mean, I don't mean to be, scare everybody, but, this is Rob Portman from Ohio and Smith from, where was he from? Bill Smith is, our Thornberry and Smith, they really pulled a number on us on that NDAA, and so we got to really pay attention. And I'll be the first to admit that I worked every day and just trusted what the news told me, and I realized that I'm part of the problem.
What happened there? Did I just lose her? Oh, well, we got another call coming in. It looks like you booted the previous caller. I'm sorry to the previous caller. That's never happened before. I have no idea what's... Man, I get thrown all kinds of stuff on this program, I tell you. I didn't even boot the caller. Skype did it. I don't know. Sorry about that. So we got CS calling in. What you got, CS?
All right, listen. I'm not calling here to give any kind of any news on international happenings or any of the intelligence organizations' happenings. But I did call to give a little bit of common sense from my point of view. And that is this. Our current president, what's happening to him right now, with all this onslaught, should be of concern to everyone, irrelevant of political affiliation. And here's why. Because the simple fact is that for the longest time, he was accused of jumping the line, that he hasn't earned his political bones, that he didn't go from a senator or a congressman to, being part of some kind of committee in Washington, D.C., that he was just a billionaire that became president. And D.C., and I can promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, from all the years that I lived in D.C., it's like a caste system. Now, here's an example of what I'm saying. You have two individuals that step forward and they say they want to run for the same political office in the same political affiliation or political organization. Now, you have one that went into combat, was a soldier. Let's say he came out of the United States military, let's say the Army, as a captain. The other one is a small business owner. He has, let's say, 50 people working for him or her. Which one do you think that political organization is going to support? What do you think, Rod?
Well, they're gonna try to support the military person.
Exactly, because they can label that person as a hero. That person can be brought in, labeled as a hero, and win that office. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, mind you, both of them may have a college education. Both of them were in charge of people. One made money. The other one went into combat. So one understands the economy much better than the other. But they're still going to take the one person that's labeled as a hero and use that label. Because I can promise you right now, everybody who's gone into combat or served in the United States military does not see themselves as a hero. I don't see myself as a hero, and I never will. So they take that label and use it to further their agenda. Now, it's, like I said, it's a caste system. He was brought into the hierarchy caste. Now, the other person, their business may continue to grow, flourish, and just increase. But that one person, nobody's going to pay attention to, because what is that small business owner whose company is growing? What is their role in this caste system? To finance the political party. That is their role. And that is the role that Donald Trump played for so many years, helping finance a campaign or helping finance a political party or a political movement. So the Democrats feel that Donald Trump jumped ahead a lot. And you know what? It's not just the Democrats. There's a whole lot of Republicans that feel the same exact way. Now, why should the American people be concerned about this? What if a scientist wants to run for president? What if an economist wants to run for president? What if somebody who does not have the political background but yet has the expertise, the knowledge, and the understanding of what's going on in the world today wants to run for president? The same thing is going to happen to them. So therefore, the American dream of somebody becoming whatever they want in life is being crushed because you went from billionaire to president. Well, you can go from scientist to president. No, you can't do that. No, first you have to gain our trust. First, you have to be on the inside. First, you have to understand how we play the game so you can play it the way we play it. And that's inappropriate because guess what? Politics it should not be a game. You have the lives and the future of millions of people in your hands and you consider it. We've all heard the expression, the game of politics. Well, politics shouldn't be a game. So this entire onslaught that's going on is because this financier of the political groups dared to dream he can do better than they can. So they're trying to put him back in his place. That's all this is right now. And like I said, it's not just the Democrats. It's many Republicans that are involved in this fiasco. So basically, these politicians are telling Rod Eccles, me, C.S. Walker, and anybody else out there, no, know your place in life. We are the hierarchy. We are the kings, the queens. We are the dukes and the duchesses. We are the land barons. You are the serfs. You over there, you're the lords and ladies that finance our wars, that finance our expeditions. You finance what we want you to finance. And the peasants, you work for us. But don't dare to dream too high. But we will tell you to dream and aim big. But we won't let you get there because this is our world. So don't think you can do better than we can. So this could happen to any person, no matter what their political affiliation may be. That's what the American people need to be concerned about.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. Well, I do have to run. Gotta pay some of the bills here. Hopefully, I'll be one of those financiers, I guess, in the future. Always good to hear from you, my friend.
All right, you have a great one.
Take care. We will be back.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. the Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an A-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
Welcome back, hour number 2 here on this Friday morning.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, indeed, August number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017. Glad you are here. As we do every Friday, we try to take things a little bit lighter. Do the rest of the week. You can call in and talk about just about anything you want to that's on your mind. 603-835-3226. That is the well-kept secret phone number, should you wish to join us. I don't... And there's Friday. It's hard to actually look. I don't want to make it sound like I'm losing hope here, because I'm not. But it's hard to look at this stuff on a daily basis, like I do, and not feel a bit of trepidation, not feel a little despondent, have a feeling of despair and hopelessness. And at the same time, understand that it isn't because we've had a bunch of people do this to us. This is where the United States is unique in this whole global debacle of government takeover. Here in the U.S. of A., we haven't had somebody rise up and, like Cuba, Castro's and Guevara, rise up and try a military coup or civil war and take over a country. That's not what happened. What happened was very. Now, a lot of people say that it's complicated, but it's not complicated. It's very simple. What happened is that the American people, the American voter, didn't pay attention. We just didn't pay attention. We haven't paid attention for decades, really. And we kept electing the same kind of people, and every time they did something, they passed a bill into law that harmed us, what did we do? We rewarded those people with re-election. So, after you do this a few times, then those people that we elect, they don't fear us anymore. Well, they're gonna, I could issue this, write this bill and have it and be a sponsor of it and get it passed, and it could harm the hell out of the regular people out there, and we can exempt ourselves. But you know what? It's okay, because they're going to reelect me anyway. And so, frankly, I hate to say it, but we've got the government, that we deserve, that we voted for. So we have the very people in office who are opposing Donald Trump. And it's totally and completely our fault. And you might say, well, Rod, but we voted for Trump. Yeah, but you also voted for McCain and McConnell and Ryan et al. You voted for Pelosi and Waters and Reid et al. So the reality is, even in my own state, voted for Shaheen. And so the reality is that if there's a problem that Donald Trump has to deal with this negative, hateful, despondent Congress, it's not the president's fault that he can't get along with them. They don't want to get along with him because there's no fear that if they don't get along with him and help push his agenda through, there's no fear of them being fired. 99% of those people up there right now who are up for re-election, who want to keep their job in 2018, 99% of them, I guarantee you, are not afraid of losing their job. They're not afraid. Now, on occasion, rare occasion, there are some shockers. Cantor, he lost. That was a shocker. But that doesn't happen nearly enough. Most of these people think, well, my constituents are going to reelect me. It's no big deal. So there's no fear. You can look at Paul Ryan, you can look at McConnell, you can look at, before McCain got brain cancer, you could have told McCain, look, McCain, I want you to work with the president. I'm not working with him. And I know in 6 years I'm going to get reelected anyway, so I don't have to listen to you. And that's the truth. Hey, I hate to say it, but it's the government that we have today is the voters' fault. Plain and simple. And I know a lot of people listening to this program saying, "Well, I didn't vote for those people, Rod. I voted for somebody." I know, I get it. But the fact is that we reelect these same people over and over and over and over again, and they're not going to give us term limits. Why? Why should they? Why should they give us term limits and force themselves out of a job when they know it's too damn easy for them to get you to reelect them over and over and over again? They're not going to get rid of term. I know we can call for term limits. I agree we should have term limits, but we're not going to get them. We're not until we turn at least half of the incumbents out. That's the only way you're going to get it, but that's not going to happen. We're going to have the same people that get reelected again. Well, I mean, because you're going to say, well, because there's nobody else. Well, no, bullshit. You can always, just like Cantor, he lost in his primary. Yeah, it was a shocker, but that could happen all over the country. But strangely enough, it's such a rare case when an incumbent gets upseated by a newcomer and they don't win their primary. So where you get them is not in the general election. You get them because what do you have? You have the choice between an incumbent Republican or a new Democrat. That's not a choice. Or well, I guess you could say, well, the Democrat, you could flip it to Republican. Again, but it's still... if you want to get rid of people, you can't allow the incumbent to even get to the general election. Plain, you got to turn them out. You got to turn them out. Let's see. We'll take another call here. We've got Dom on the line. Good morning, my friend. What is going on?
Good morning, Rod. You just hit a nerve with me. I had to call in. To all of America, I'd like to personally apologize for John McCain. See, we had a chance to get Kelly. I'm not joking. We had a chance to get Kelly Ward, but it was, and she's awesome. She's an America First type of person. She's Make America Great Again. But it was right in the middle of the Trump election, and Trump was in a dogfight, so we didn't really pay much attention to the primaries here in Arizona, and I just assumed that McCain was going to lose. I just assumed that Kelly Ward was going to beat him. She got routed in the primary, and there's no way on earth we're going to vote for Ann Kirkpatrick. So we put in exactly what you said. There's no way we're going to let Ann Kirkpatrick take office, so we are stuck with John McCain again. And it was all about the primaries. They just sneak in. They knew, John McCain knew no one was paying attention. He knew we were all neck deep in wondering what, is Trump going to win? You got to remember, there were polls showing Trump getting, it was impossible for him to win. So we're out there working to get Trump elected. Meanwhile, John McCain just sneaks in the shadows, and now I'm apologizing to the entire country. This guy is. I can't say it any better than you said it when you said, well, we're not going to remove a Republican to put in some lunatic leftist. That's just not going to happen. So he's sitting back going, there's no way I'll lose. Just get me through the primaries and there's no way I'll lose. I've been here for 30 frickin' years. I have name recognition. There's no way I'm going to lose. We have to start hitting them in the primaries. We have to start paying more attention. And I'm pointing the finger right at myself. I just sat back and said, Kelly Ward's great. There's no way she's going to lose. Oh, yeah? Really? Look what happened. Now she's running again. I think she's running against this idiot Flake. Believe me, I will not be passive in the primaries. I want Kelly Ward representing Arizona. I want her representing Arizona bad because she's an America First type of person. I think that's what America needs. I think it's time we stopped worrying about everyone else and started worrying about us. The pillow is gone in America. There's no more cushion. We need to start making America great so its people can enjoy the greatness.
That's what I've been saying for so many years now. Since day one I started this show, in order to change your government, you have to change the people in government. Your government is not, because these people are not going to change it for you. The old guard is not going to all of a sudden say, well, we're going to do things differently. The only way that they're going to do things differently is if they really are in fear of being ousted. If they really think that you're going to hold them accountable. But that hasn't happened in the last 100 years. It is rare that the American voter holds an incumbent accountable. I mean, look how many times where we've had presidents in this country that won re-election. That shouldn't have won re-election. I mean, Obama's a perfect. There's no way in hell that man should have gotten re-elected. No way in hell.
Well, let's just go back and think about something here for a second. Reagan oversaw the largest peacetime growth in American history. And I'm not a Clinton fan, but Bill Clinton oversaw the longest peacetime growth in American history. Yet if you look at the numbers they put out, Obama apparently had better economies than both of them. Now, that goes against every sense of reality. I mean, everyone walking around knew the economy was not strong under the Obama administration, yet the media keeps telling us he oversaw the best economy in American history.
Yeah, I don't know what I know what you're talking about. I don't know what world that they were in when they talk about stuff like that. But I understand that we understand that the media is not kosher anymore. They're not journalists anymore. So I don't know how we keep saying that the media has lost its influence, the mainstream media. Really? So we know all this, yet and still we allow this guy to be reelected. Why? He single-handedly, basically, along with his party, instituted something that Americans hate to this day, called Obamacare, the Americans Affordable Care Act. And all we wanted the Republicans to do for the last 6 or 7 years is to repeal it. And yet we still reelected this guy who gave it to us in the first place. I don't, it is beyond me. Why? Because because McCain had Romney had higher negatives. Well, why did Romney's probably one of the nicest men that anybody will ever meet. The guy doesn't have a mean bone in his body. How many times have you left stuff and dogs and babies on top of cars and car seats? I mean, this has happened. People have done this. So that's the only thing that kept him out of the White House is because he put his dog on the top of the station wagon. I mean, really? Probably the nicest guy in politics that this country has ever seen in the last 150 years was Mitt Romney, and he was skewered by the so-called lamestream media, which nobody supposedly paid attention to.
No, the mainstream media still has its influence. We're battling it. I believe they survived their failed attack on Reagan because we didn't have an internet back then, and people didn't have a way to express themselves. All they could do was write a letter to that newspaper that wouldn't get put in the paper. Now, I mean, we can battle their influence, but that doesn't mean they don't have influence, but at least we have a way to express ourselves. When they put out a poll that says, well, Americans hate Trump, we now can stand up and go, oh no. And people can see that we are supporting Trump. And, I'll tell you, I guarantee you, he runs again. Now, I know you believe he won't, and his age, might keep him from running. He runs again, he'll win again. I guarantee it. See it, CNN, all you guys, mark my words. Trump runs again, he'll win again.
Well, this whole Mueller thing, I got to take a break. But when I get back, I'm going to talk to you about this whole Mueller thing, which may throw a wrench into that re-election plan of Donald Trump. And I'll tell
it won't.
I hope
I
so.
promise you it won't. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hang up and I'll listen. You provide me the information, Rod.
I'll do my best. We'll thank you. We'll be back, folks.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Now Mueller is out there with a new grand jury. Now here's the problem with this. See, all of this should have been shut down. It should have been shut. This is a witch hunt. It's a fishing expedition. It should have been. Let me just take you back to a time. Let me just throw a name out there. Scooter Libby. This is what you're going to get. Now, no, it's not going to directly ensnare I don't think Mueller has anything that can directly ensnare the president. But people around him, and the way the lamestream media is, anytime anybody it gets indicted, and it's just going to be a crime. They're going to be indicted for a crime, a process crime. That's it. It isn't going to be for collusion. Isn't going to be for obstruction of justice or anything else. It's going to be for, you lied to the grand jury, you lied to Congress, and it really isn't somebody lying, except that they're playing with people's memories. Anybody at any time could be convicted of perjury because you don't tell the same story exactly the same way twice. That's what happened to Scooter Libby. It's what happened to a bunch of people who get caught in this kind of stuff. And the only way they can do that is by having a grand jury. And they're going to try to ensnare a number of people as close to the president as possible. They are going to try to wear Donald Trump out. That's all this is about. I firmly believe that, and the evidence, the lack of evidence pretty much shows that there is no evidence that the president has done anything even close to being illegal or unethical or immoral. Well, he's earned billions of dollars, and the people on the left, that's immoral. But other than that, he hasn't done anything unethical, illegal, or immoral. And frankly, because of who he is and who he has been, I mean, the man is, for most of his adult life, has been in the spotlight. He knows it. He's been brash, and he couldn't get away with anything. I mean, when he was fooling around with Marla Maples while he was still with Ivana Trump, everybody knew it. And I think he really realized that he wasn't going to be able to get away with anything. He's been squeaky clean. So they're not going to get the president on anything. The evidence isn't there for that. But they can wear him down like you would not believe and get his supporting cast. That's what they're going to try to do. And if they get just one or two of them, that could be enough for now you have to understand. Sure, the president, he won the election, but he didn't win it by a landslide. Trump's victory was not a Reagan victory. Let's be honest about that. And even if you take out, you got to take out the illegal votes. But even if you take out the illegal votes, Donald Trump did not win by a huge margin, the popular vote. He just didn't. Now, I can admit that. It wasn't a landslide. Now, granted, it was Hillary Clinton, and she had name recognition. She had her good husband Bill, who people still like Bill for whatever reason. They don't like Donald Trump talking about locker room talk, but Bill Clinton can actually have locker room talk and locker room action in the White House, and people still love Bill. I don't know how that works, but hey, okay. So they love Bill. They love frankly, you know what? Well, it is what it is, folks. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right
now. The most politically incorrect black man in America. You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Welcome back, 603-835-3226. Glad that you are still here. It's a wonderful day out there. It's it's partly cloudy, partly sunny. I don't know which is which. Half full, half empty kind of glass type of thing. Any case, what we have going on here in Washington, D.C. is you have Mueller, and you have there's supposedly, according to McClatchy, there is a bipartisan move from senators to protect Mueller inquiry from Trump interference. Special counsel Robert Mueller III received a bipartisan boost from Capitol Hill on Thursday, even as news broke that he'd moved to a more serious phase of his investigation of Russia's meddling in the 2016 election. Now, folks, I am so sick and tired of this. The reality on the ground is there was no influence by Russia on our electoral system. They didn't hack anything. They didn't hack a single vote was not changed or swayed by any Russia involvement. Now, by comparison, some 3 or so years ago, did we not have full-on American Obama administration collusion in the Israeli election system? We did. It was direct involvement in trying to keep Benjamin Netanyahu from being reelected. We had boots on the ground, and we had money flowing in to try to keep Benjamin Netanyahu, and these damn fools in Washington, D.C. are afraid of some tweets from Russia? Oh, yeah, we can't have this. This is a threat to democracy. Then what the hell, John McCain? What happened in Israel? They're a democracy, too. This is nothing but a red hair. This is all about the GOP and the Democratic political machine trying to wear down Donald Trump because he's not one of them. Plain and simple. And if there's any American out there that thinks any differently, you're a damn fool. There was nothing the Russians did. Well, possibly, I don't know, maybe the Russians had something to do with hacking the DNC, but don't give me this bullshit about what Hillary Clinton's emails. The woman is a liar. She's a criminal. She's the one that should be under investigation and under indictment. This whole crap that's going on now for trying to get Donald Trump on any... Oh, yeah, back in 1982, Donald Trump forgot to pay a fine because he got a ticket for jaywalking. That's it. Impeach him over jaywalking. You should have Hillary Clinton in jail. The evidence is there for so much. Bill Clinton should be right behind her. The evidence is there for so damn much illegal and unethical activity by those two. They're the ones that brought this whole Russia collusion thing up as a joke. This whole thing started because of a joke. You've got that stupid dossier that I don't know how many times it has been disproven and told and proven to be a fake. Fake, 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 fake. This whole sham, this whole thing, this whole collusion thing is nothing but a sham and a fake. It's all fake. Because if we were actually looking for justice, we'd be focusing on Hillary Clinton. We'd be focusing on Deborah Wasserman Schultz. What the hell did she do over there at the DNC? We'd be focusing on what Maxine. Donald Trump and Donald Trump Jr. They put all this money into Donald Trump's campaign. What about Maxine Waters and all the questionable stuff that she did through her campaign office? There's stuff that is out there that is real. We have the evidence for it. And instead, and this is where I'm angry with the president is allowing this bullshit to continue. Why? Because if you think Mr. President, if you think you're going to get some of the GOP on your side, it's not going to happen. You need to hammer these people like the nails that they are. They're all fake. They're all phony. They need to be hammered, and hammered some more. You need to fire Mueller. You need to fire every Obama holdover in the Justice Department and in the White House. They all need to go. And then you need to put the Senate on notice. And you can't threaten them. You actually got to do it. You got to go out there and campaign against some of them and get their asses booted from Congress in 2018. You got to use the presidency as a firm bully pulpit. You can't play their game. They're forcing you to play their game, Mr. President. You are too smart for that. This is just ridiculous bullshit. Excuse my French. Like I said, if it were me, I would have fired Mueller. And I would have dared anybody in Congress to say anything different. Because this is my executive branch. I'm following the Constitution and the laws of this land. And this guy is not doing his job. And he needs to go. And then I'd turn around and I'd make sure that a special prosecutor was hired to look into Hillary Clinton. A special prosecutor was hired to look into Maxine Waters. A special prosecutor was hired to look into Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And anybody else who's been playing footsie with the law. And then I go back and I get a special prosecutor and look into the Obama administration, into their illegal meddling, into the Israelite election. You guys want to play this game? Well, I'll play it. If I were president, I'd say, come on, bring it. I'll take down the whole damn Senate if I have to. That's the kind of guy that the president needs to be right now. That's the kind of guy he can be. It's the kind of guy we expect him to be. That's the kind of guy that the American people voted for. But don't make no mistake about it. The Democrats have a wonderful cheating machine. And they're still out there, even though we know that there is at least 5 million illegal votes, they're still out there saying that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by some 3 million votes. So they're very good at mobilizing illegal voting. The president didn't win by a large enough margin to make me comfortable in 2020. He didn't. And in order to make that margin bigger, in 2020, you got to replace some of these people in 2018. You just gotta. Unbelievable. I'm not supposed to go nuclear on a Friday. If I do, it's supposed to, well, not me. Somebody else is supposed to go nuclear. By the way, the unemployment numbers here, the official unemployment rate, the U3 rate, is now sitting at 4.3%. The actual unemployment, the U6 number, is standing at 8.6%. Now, the reality is that you want the U6 number to hit, I think it's a 7% mark. Or no, the U6 has to be 8%, I think. So it's getting down. It's getting close. It did tick up slightly from May to June. It went from 8.4 to 8.6, and it's holding at 8.6, even though we have so many new jobs added. The problem is that we're getting down. Now, when you look at the U3 number, once you get around down to, what is it? Full employment is like 4% or something. The problem is that, again, don't be fooled by I know it's even though it's Donald Trump, don't be fooled by the numbers, the raw numbers. A lot of these jobs, all the 209,000 jobs, all of them were not good, high-paying 40-hour-a-week jobs. Understand that. Now, I got to be fair about it. Got to be honest about it, about these kind of numbers, which is why the U6 number didn't go down. The U3 number went down from 4.4% to 4.3%, but the real unemployment number, the U6 number, didn't. You got to pay attention to this stuff. Now, it does mean that that more jobs are being created and people are finding work in spite of the Democrats trying to put a wrench in the works by forcing employers to pay minimum $15 an hour, which is not just, as many times as I've said this has an effect on the entire workforce or economy. Because if somebody is going to go from $10 to $15 an hour minimum wage, then all those people who are earning $15 an hour are going to expect a raise. And if they get a raise in order to stay above the minimum, then all those people like union people and everybody else who's also basing their income off of this minimum wage stuff, and this is how a lot of union contracts are made. They have to make it a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount above the stated minimum wage. So if the minimum wage is $15 an hour and they have to make you go into a union, and those union jobs have to make a minimum of $10 over an hour over the minimum wage. Well, if the minimum wage is $10, well, what's the union wage? $20. Well, now if the minimum wage is $15 an hour, what's the union wage? $25. It's a ripple effect. So, yeah, they're trying to throw a wrench into the work. And if you don't, look it up, people. I know some people say, that's not how it works, right? That is how it works. I was once a member of 2 unions. Reluctant. I didn't want to be a member of the Teamsters, and I didn't want to be a member of the iron workers either. But those places where I work, you had to join the union. You had no say. You wanted to work there, you had to join the union and pay the union dues and all that kind of bullshit. And let me tell you, they didn't really help us little guys out very much. And as far as the Ironworkers Union, the company that I worked for, it was our minimum salary, starting salary, as everybody else's salary was tied to the minimum wage. If the minimum wage went up, we got a raise, even if we didn't have to go into contract negotiations to get it. So that's how it does work, people. Just saying. This whole, what we've got is a massive interference from our government in our economy where it does not belong. It does not belong interfering in our economy. When we're trying to make it more fair, it's not making it more fair, it's making it more unfair. You might be a good solid worker, and you're looking for that opportunity, and you got an opportunity, and now all of a sudden, because the government says that your employer, that the wage that you and your employer agreed to was not enough, that your employer has to pay you more, your employer says, I can't afford you, got to let you go. And that happens all the time too. I've had people, tell me, geez, we'd love to have you. You're more than qualified, but we can't afford you. Now, at that particular point, it was up to me to say, well, maybe I'll take a smaller salary. No, I never did. But yeah, right. It's just you'd find a way to afford me if you think I'm that good, but maybe you can't afford me. Oh, look, I turned down positions at jobs when I've looked at them and said, you're not ready to have me yet. I'm not to puff myself up and say that I'm great, but you have to understand your own worth. And if you're trying to do something, if you're trying to get into a company or gain some experience, then you're willing to make some maneuvers on your salary. And you're trying to get yourself in a position where you can say, well, no, I'm worth more than what you're offering, so I'm going to turn down your offer. Or you have the ability, because you have the experience and knowledge and wisdom, you can say, your company is not ready for me to be in this position yet. You're not ready for a person to take this position. Because you need somebody like that who's going to tell you straight up, or because they're going to do more harm to your company than good. But if government gets involved, then they screw up all of that. You don't have the ability to negotiate like that. You might say, well, you know what? I'm willing to take $10 an hour just so I can get my foot in the door. And the government comes along and says, nope, you got to get 15. You say, but I don't want 15. I want to get my foot in the door. Don't care. You got to take 15. That's the problem, folks, and that happens every single day. Government is too involved in our private lives, in our business lives, making decisions for us, and they have no clue. This is why you got to get rid of these people. Most of them in Congress have had very little, if any, private sector experience at all. They've been in Congress so long. They've been in government so long. They have absolutely no clue of what it's like to be a private citizen. It's time you send them back to the private sector.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, I'll bet you're a Nazi. Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. There's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
Our nation continues the march down the road where they say it's always somebody else's fault, where there is no self-responsibility. This is a case here in New England, just south of my border in Massachusetts. Pretty famous case. It's made headlines all over the world, all over the country. People have been following this. But girl whose texts drove her boyfriend to suicide is now going to be jailed. Michelle Carter was given a 15-month sentence after the victim's father said that she exploited his son's weaknesses and used him as a pawn. I've always said, boys, guys just have one thing on their brain. They have one thing on their mind, and that can make them turn them into a-holes. Guys can just be jerks. They really don't think of anything else but the bigger, better deal, giving the bigger, better deal to girls and just having sex. Yeah, that's pretty much all they think of. Guys, for the most part, they don't scheme any other way. I mean, we're pretty predictable. Women, on the other hand, can just be downright evil. You get on the bad side of a woman. I mean, that's just, you don't want to do that. Yeah, you really don't. I know I'm speaking in generalized terms, but it's... You got boys that bully boys, yes, and sometimes the bullying drives them to suicide, and it's usually not an intended consequence, because the boys will say, well, geez, why don't they just toughen up then if they can't take it? I mean, why do they need to kill them? But girls, on the other hand, if they want you to kill yourself, man, they actually mean it, evidently, according to this case. Conrad Roy, who was 18, took his own life after his girlfriend, Michelle Carter, encouraged him to do so. Then she listened to his last minutes on the cell phone, but did not call 911. Now, Carter was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in June after his death in his own truck in Fairhaven, Massachusetts, back in July of 2014. The judge sentenced her to 15 months in prison, and the rest of the sentences was suspended. Carter will be on probation for 5 years once she's released. However, the judge granted a defense motion for an appeal that would keep Carter out of jail, and to her appeals in the Massachusetts court system have been exhausted. So the boy kills himself, and it's the girl's fault. Yeah, simply because she wrote in a text to where's his culpability in all this? Just asking.
To
today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you gotta get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me? My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better, at nih.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back, hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show, the fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio, as well as the fastest week in Internet Talk Radio, because it's Friday.
Welcome to Freedom Friday.
Yes, it is August number 4 in the year of our Lord of 2017, which means we take things a little bit lighter, even in this third hour. We really try to go lighter in the third hour. The call-in number for you to participate is 603-835-3226. That is toll-free for most calling plans around the globe. So if you're an ecclesiastic or a liberty lover that is located somewhere overseas and you're listening to this program live, then, this is what? It's like 5 o'clock now in Paris? Just put it in perspective. It's like 4 o'clock in London and 5 in Paris and 7, I think, in Germany, Berlin. I don't know. It's probably early in the morning in Australia. Who knows? But anyway, glad that you're all here. What is it? It's about 7 o'clock in Israel? So you can call in from there too. We've had people call in from exotic locales. I've had Canadians call in. I don't think I've had a Mexican call in yet. That's just racist, Rod. You can't say Mexican. You can't say Mexican, man. You're racist, man. Well, I can say Mexican. Because what else are you going to call a person from Mexico? Well, they may not be Mexican, man. They might be something else from south of the border. They could be Latino from something. They could be Guatemalan. They could be Ecuadorian. Well, if they live in Mexico and they're a citizen of Mexico, what do you call them? I kid you not. I mean, did you know that it is racist to call a Mexican a Mexican? I don't know. What are we supposed to call them then? It can be it can be construed as being racist for calling a Mexican Mexican. What are we? That would be like saying it'd be rude and racist to call a Puerto Rican Puerto Rican. What are you supposed to call them? They're Americans. Well, yeah, we're all Americans because we live in North America or South America, but the only country that doesn't really have its own is is the United States. What do we just call ourselves Americans? The Canadians are Americans, but so is it racist to say Canadian is a Canadian? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense how it can be racist to call a Mexican, but I'll leave it to the left to come up with stuff like this. Speaking of being racist, here the Kansas City Star's got a story. The NAACP, the NAACP has issued its first ever. Did you know that the NAACP is pretty close to the CCCP? Yeah, all you got to do is take the two A's and turn them into C's, and you got the CCCP. And what was the CCCP? Well, the CCCP was the actual acronym for the Soviet Union. Just saying. Is that a stretch? Am I reaching for that one? Okay, maybe. In any case, the NAACP issues its first ever travel advisory for a state, and it's Missouri. Yes. The NAACP officials say that their recent travel advisory for Missouri is the first that the civil rights group has ever issued for any state. But the warning follows a recent trend of similar alerts issued by other groups for vulnerable people around the United States. Vulnerable people around the United States. The travel advisory circulated in June by the Missouri, as they say, NAACP, and recently taken up by the national organization, comes after travel alerts began appearing in recent years in light of police shootings in the U.S. and ahead of immigration legislation in Texas and Arizona. The Missouri Travel Advisory is the first time an NAACP conference has ever made one state the subject of a warning about discrimination and racist attacks by police. A spokesman for the national organization. What was all that? Wait. So what you're telling me is that now in 2017, because the police still pretty much shoot the bad guy, it's rare that a non-bad guy gets shot by the police, but it happens. I understand that. Mistakes happen. Cops are only human. But for the most part, we've learned, even through all of this, hands up, don't shoot kind of crap, what we've learned is 99.9% of the time the police only shoot the bad guy. So you shoot the bad guy, and now you're going to be construed as being racist. You want to round up illegal immigrants who are criminals because they broke the law by coming into our country illegally, and now that's being construed as being racist. And you're saying that there's a travel advisory for Missouri because Texas and Arizona have been taking up anti-illegal immigration legislation? How does Missouri take the brunt of that? And all of this in 2017... when none of this kind of stuff was ever talked about or issued back in the days when there really was some real racism going on. I'm just saying, we are so far, racially speaking, we are not the same country, nation that we were 50 or 60 years ago. We're not. We're just, I don't care how you look at it, we're just not. We are more racially diverse today than we were back then. The races are intermingling and mixing more than they ever have before. We have interracial couples giving birth to interracial babies, in numbers that are now starting to be noticed and seen in whole numbers, not just fractions of a point, but in whole numbers in our census data. We're not the same country. And this has nothing to do with the immigrants that from ethnic backgrounds. This has everything to do with natives. Americans are nowhere near as racist or bigoted as we were 50 or 60 years ago. Well, unless, of course, unless you're a Democrat, then you probably still is. But Missouri became the first because of recent legislation making discrimination lawsuits harder to win, as they should. Because right now, all you got to do is just stand up and scream racism, and people, they sort of duck and cover, and because they duck and cover, that makes them guilty. Really, that kind of nonsense has got to stop. It really does. I mean, the way people are able to twist our legal system is absolutely incredible to me. By the way, you can duck and cover, but you can't hide, evidently. The Wall Street Journal's got a story that the drone hovering over your house. Well, yeah, it's probably not your peeping Tom neighbor. It's probably now your insurance inspector. About 40% of car insurers no longer use employees to physically inspect damage in some cases. Yeah, they're sending out drones to look at your. I'm sorry. If I have you if you're my insurer for any kind of insurance, and you send a drone to my house instead of a real person, I'm going to drop you as my insurer. I'm just putting that out there right now. No, you're not going to send a drone. You're going to send a person. I'm going to if you come onto my property with a drone, if you're flying over my property, I'm going to shoot you down. I have every right to protect my privacy on my property. Well, now, I mean, I get it. If you're not on my property, then I really can't shoot you. If you're over, like, say, above the street, and you got your cameras pointed at my house, well, there's nothing I can do about that. But it's just the way it is. But if you fly that thing over my property, I'm going to shoot it down. Because I'm not giving anybody permission. I'm not even giving government permission to fly a stupid drone over my property like that. Sure as hell not going to give an insurance company. Now, how asinine. Well, because you don't. I guess you don't need as many insurance adjusters because they don't have to go out to see something. They can just send a drone and take a whole bunch of pictures of your property. Instead, and why not? I suppose. Well, because it's going to put some people out of work, and evidently, the sun.co.uk has got this story. Former Facebook executive says society will collapse within 30 years as robots put half of humans out of work. So that's starting with drones, sending drones instead of human adjusters out to your property to take pictures of your damaged property. And Antonio Garcia Martinez fears revolution and armed conflict will erupt in America in the coming decades. Will we have robots and drones fighting our wars for us instead of with real people? So we won't have real soldiers. We'll be sending little drones. We'll be sending drones. Robot wars. I don't know. Will robots refuse to go to war, to go fight for humans? Or will robots turn on us and start fighting humans? I don't know. Well, whatever. A former Facebook executive has quit his job and now lives as a recluse in the wilderness because he's convinced that machines will take over the world. Antonio Garcia Martinez Worked as a project manager for the social media giant in Silicon Valley, but became terrified by the relentless march of technology. He says he reckons that machines will have taken half of humanity's jobs within 30 years, sparking revolt and armed conflict. Could this be why Zuckerberg is all for this a basic minimum wage or salary kind of nonsense? Because he's trying to put people out of jobs because, well, robots, AI. And, by the way, for those of you who didn't know, did you know that Mark Zuckerberg was actually, I think it's YouTube. But I think it's a YouTube video of Zuckerberg actually admitting on camera that he prefers to eat tasty animals that he himself has murdered. I mean, hunted and killed. Is somebody really going to put a gun in Zuckerberg's hand? Does he really know how to use one? Maybe he's sending a robot.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
There are people out there that no matter what you do for them, they just don't seem to get it. They think that they're too good to do certain things, that they're too good or too famous to do certain things. And this is part of this whole reality TV show garbageola. Hey, take the Kardashians, for instance. What do they really do? They don't do a damn thing. But take this a little bit further. There is evidently a guy in England who literally thinks because he's had one appearance on their version of Jersey Shore, I guess. And the reason why this guy comes up as an international story is because he swore on British TV, morning, basically it was a Kelly and Ryan, live with Kelly and Ryan, Seacrest. It's the British equivalent of it, I guess. But he claims he's too famous to have a job. Yeah. And he swears live on This Morning as he refuses to work in a fish shop. So here's the story. Grant Coulson, Coulson, who appeared on one episode of Geordie Shore, a reality series, insisted that he was now too famous to work in an effing fish shop. After he was interviewed live on the morning show, and after the show lined up a job interview for him, hosts Ryan Clark Neal and Sarah Green looked visibly shocked as this guy swore on live TV. He says, "I don't think I could work in an effing fish shop," said Coulson. Now, Ryan and Sarah, Rylan, R-Y-L-A-N, not Ryan, Rylan and Sarah glossed over the incident, saying, "You couldn't work in a fish shop. You couldn't work in a fish. You couldn't work on a fish ship, and you couldn't work in a fish shop. Maybe a bar would be good for you then." Then the show went to a break. When they came back from the commercial break, they apologized for Coulson's language, but viewers were disgusted with Coulson as he claims that he couldn't work because of his one episode on this reality show called Geordie Shore. He wants to be a presenter. Well, he would. He can't. As for being famous, too famous to find work, another person, a viewer wrote. One word, deluded. Well, you can imagine that there is plenty of response to this guy's. He's really somehow, I guess, he's really full of himself. I suppose you could say I don't know if he's even a good-looking guy or not, but anyway, he's too he's too famous to work a regular job because he appeared on a Jersey Shore This is why we got to get rid of these stupid reality TV shows. It makes so-called stars out of people that have absolutely no talent and no ability whatsoever. So and the problem with people, the problem with beautiful people is that the problem with beautiful people is that they're never nearly as beautiful as they think that they are. And I'm just talking that their physical attributes. I'm not talking about their personalities, because a lot of times their personalities are uglier than you know what. No, I'm just talking about their physical. I love all these people that think they're so gorgeous. Everybody says that they're gorgeous. Like, who's everybody? It's not gorgeous. She's not gorgeous. I mean, what is that? And so this guy is one of those kind of guys that somebody said, "Well, you're really hot, man. You're gorgeous," and he believes it. And I'm just looking at him thinking, well, I think you're I can think of other words. You're a douche. But he's not. This is the norm for people in this industry, this reality industry. I'm surprised you don't see that when people ask kids, grown-ups ask kids, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a reality TV star. Why not? Because most of them say they want to be actors and singers and musicians and artists. So they don't want real jobs. And no, being a musician, I'm sorry, is not actually a real job. Being an actor is not a real job. I would say that not even all actors entertain people, because if you look at some of the box office receipts from some movies this year, a lot of movies, a lot of actors are busy at work, but very few people are being entertained by their movies and TV shows. Just saying. But the people who actually make the TVs and the movie screens that build the movie theaters, nobody wants to do those jobs, right? So they all want to be on the screen, but nobody wants to build the screen. Yeah. Acting is not a real job. It's a hobby.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
Is in some trouble, apparently. Yes, the senator from the great state of Arizona seems to have some approval ratings issues. A recent poll, according to HotAir.com, puts Flake's approval rating at 18%, his disapproval rating at 63%. In fact, more people are not sure about him than actually approve of his job performance so far. 19% are not sure, and only 18% approve of his jobs. Now, the real problem is that Republicans, only 22% find Flake favorable, 15% of Democrats, and independents are at 17%. So an 18% overall approval rate for Flake. This is a guy who's I don't know. I'm not out in Arizona, so I don't know what Flake is. I've always said that Flake is really kind of a flake. Evidently, Arizonaans also agree by only giving him an 18% approval rating. Trump is in a hot seat for being they're going to try to use anything and everything on Trump to label him a racist. Now Trump is in trouble for using the term paddy wagon, because evidently, according to the left, paddy wagon is offensive to Irish Americans. I kid you not. There is somebody out there. The best part of this idiocy is that the author of the anti-paddy wagon movement term, it says it's a slur. He's not sure if it's a slur or not, but it stings him. But he admits that paddy wagon might be so named not because Irish Americans used to be identified with criminals, but because they used to be identified with cops, especially in big cities like New York and Boston. 100 years ago in New York City, odds were good that the guy driving the so-called paddy wagon was either himself named Patty or had a family member that was. So anyway, we should encourage especially absurd examples of grievance mongering like this, as it discredits the entire victim Olympics. When will the persecution of Irish Americans end? Answer from a Twitter pal, presumably when they curb their penchant for public drunkenness. What's the old mantra about Irishmen is that if it's dark outside, they're drunk inside, right? Really, that's about the state of it, because Irishmen are always going to the pubs, right? Isn't it? They're always taking to the drink. And the ladies and the women of the households always, their husbands are always out there getting drunk, so they come home. Irish eyes are smiling. Isn't that what the what everybody thinks of the Irish? Well, I mean, everybody's got these stereotypes about their ethnic background, and frankly, the stereotypes are based on some sort of historical fact. Now, are Irish people more prone to be alcoholics? I don't think so. Any more than Irish were more prone to be criminals. But in this country, for a period of time, the Irish were more in East Coast cities. They were more prone to be the beat cops. Seriously. I mean, it seemed like every other cop in New York and Boston was an Irishman back at the turn of the century. That's just historical fact, really. I mean, there were a lot of Irishmen who were cops. A lot of Irish cops. It's not being derogatory. So when you say paddy wagon, I guess you can't please. We can't say anything anymore. We can't identify. It's now to the point where it's racist to call a Mexican Mexican. It's racist to determine that because of history, Irish were more likely to be cops in major U.S. East Coast cities, and where the term paddy wagon was born. So the Irish cops came to get all of you ethnic people, you Italians, Irishmen, Greeks, and Germans and everything, and put you in the paddy wagon. They came to met out justice. And now, all of a sudden today, 100 years later, it's racist to call it paddy wagon. I guess they don't want you to know that Irish made up a good portion of our police forces back in the day. I'm surprised somebody doesn't say that I'm being racist when I speak in a Latino or an Antonio Banderas voice. Wow, are you making fun of Antonio Banderas? No, how many times I got to tell you? I got it. No, I've learned the proper term for it. It's not called a man crush. It's called a bro crush. I have a bro crush on Antonio Banderas. He's the coolest man on the planet right now, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah. So I had to correct that. I meant to do that early in the program. I was corrected. Rod, it's not called a man crush. A man crush is like kind of it's not right. It's kind of gay. Okay, I guess that's you shouldn't say that either. Okay, so what is this really called? It's called a bro crush. Well, there are guys that have a bro crush on Tom Brady. I get it. I mean, the man's like superhuman in football. But you're not supposed to say that kind of stuff, I guess. I don't know. We've become a nation of wimps that can't take every other word is going to offend somebody. I don't play those games. I'm just not. I'm not going to keep up with that. I'm not going to do it. It is what it is. By the way, did I mention? I think earlier this week, Tom Brady's turning 40. And he's not showing any signs of slowing down. So we'll see how 40 affects him this football season. But from what people are saying in early practices, he's still playing like he's 20-something. Okay. We will see. Dawn of the bionic age. Yes, indeed. Body hackers are letting chips get under their skin. If you're prone to forgetting your card key for the office or your computer password, here's a solution. Get a microchip implanted in your hand. That's what Brian McAvoy has done multiple times. He's got 5 implants, mostly for functional reasons, but 1 just for fun. What? There's a glow-in-the-dark implant on the back of my right hand. Now, McAvoy, who's 36, he's a 36-year-old electrical engineer from St. Paul, Minnesota. For years, owners have implanted microchips in their pets to recover them if they go astray. Farmers use them in cattle. Now, humans are experimenting with subdermal microchips, which are the size of a large grain of rice, to make modern life easier. Ever so slowly, a trend that began in the hacker community is moving towards the mainstream. A Wisconsin firm that specializes in designing company break rooms. There are companies that specifically design employee break rooms. Okay. 3 Square Market announced last month that it was offering implanted chips to all of its employees. The chips will allow employees to make purchases at the company's break room, market, open doors, log into computers, and use copy machines, among other things. So you can biohack your... That's not biohacking. But you know what? I don't even like the stupid credit card chips. There's no way in hell I'm going to volunteer to put a chip in my body. Well, what if it can make you stronger? No, that's not bionics. If I lose an arm or a leg, great. Becoming the $6 million man might be a good thing then. But until then, obviously I'm not going to volunteer to have a leg or an arm amputated. Well, then those will have chips in them, Rod. They'll have chips, and you'll have chips in your body. Well, not exactly. But and the only thing I want if there's chips in those bionics limbs, the only thing I want them to do is to be able to control the bionic limb. They shouldn't be able to unlock doors and get into my bank accounts and all that kind of stuff and help me remember stuff. That's a bunch of BS. There's no way in hell you're going to put the mark of the beast on me or in me. Not voluntarily anyway. And if you do put it in, you better put it someplace where I can't see it and get at it, because I'll rip it out. I don't care how much pain it costs me. It's ridiculous. There's no way in hell I'd put up with this kind of crap. And people are volunteering for this? What is wrong with people? It's called laziness. Just plain laziness. In this story, finally, in this segment, we got this story from West Virginia. Governor, who is a Democrat, is switching to the Republican Party. Yes, West Virginia Governor Jim Justice announced Thursday that he's switching parties to join Republicans as President Donald Trump visited the increasingly conservative state. I don't buy it or believe it. Well, he's going to become one of those blue blood Republicans then that should be Democrats, like John McCain and Lindsey Graham. But Justice told about 9,000 Trump supporters at a rally in Huntington that he will be changing his registration today. He recently visited the White House twice with proposals on manufacturing and coal. Neither he nor Trump are politicians, and they both ran to get something done. Justice said of Trump, this is a good man. He's got a backbone. He's got real ideas. He cares about America. He cares about us in West Virginia. Now, actually, I don't know anything about Governor Jim Justice. He may be legit. He may, Trump may have gotten to him, spoken to him, and he may have become a Trumpite or a Trumpster. He obviously doesn't have Trump derangement syndrome, which is a good thing. All I can say is, if you want to be conservative, Governor, welcome home. Glad you're here. Now go out and govern West Virginia as a conservative, as a right-winger, as it were. Let it be known that West Virginia wants jobs. They want a better economy. They want better paying jobs for the citizens of West Virginia. They want better lives for the people of West Virginia. They want better education for the children of West Virginia. Go out and do it, Governor. Welcome to the conservative side. If that's what you're really doing, welcome home. You won't deny that. And I know that there are people that I've often, I have this take that if you are, you're supposed to be voting for the person, not their party. And if people get upset when somebody changes their party affiliation midterm, then that means you're not voting for the person, you're voting for the party. So if you're voting for the person and he switches affiliations and parties, doesn't that mean that he's trying to better identify himself with the party of who he or she really is? That's what I think. I mean, you've got conservative Democrats. I get it that there are people. There are far too many. It just goes to show that there are far too many people who vote party first, person second, and that's not the way it should be. It should always be person first, and party affiliation should be somewhere down in the ranked down there, ranked number 100.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong, and any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable Men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hair right.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable Men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Some other movement out there in the political verse, if you will, that has to do with the Democrats. Evidently, the Democrats are angry and inspired. Yes. By the way, Reuters. When did Reuters start using the address trust? News.trust.org. That's Reuters now. Thomas Reuters Foundation News is news.trust.org. Really? If you have got to say that your news is trustworthy, if you're going to tell us that, then it's probably not. But anyway, they have a story here. Angry and inspired, U.S. Democrats train new wave of candidates. Yes, Dateline, Rockville, Maryland. The 100 Democratic women who packed into a suburban Maryland conference room recently for a one-day training on how to run for political office were more than activists eager to battle President Donald Trump and his fellow Republicans. The teachers, students, and business leaders were also a window into the future for a Democratic Party desperate for new blood and into the booming effort to turn the left's grassroots anti-Trump activism, a.k.a. Trump derangement syndrome, into a new wave of Democratic office holders. As thousands of potential first-time candidates explore political bids in what Democratic veterans say is an unprecedented surge of activity, a broad but informal network of groups is beefing up efforts to train them for the task. The goal, turning neophytes into successful politicians who can win, giving the party a deep and diverse bench of up-and-coming progressive talent at all levels of government. So they're out there trying to trying to recruit anybody and everybody to get on board the Democratic platform. The problem is that nobody likes politicos anymore. We don't like them. Nobody likes Congress. Even state legislators around the country are starting to see some low marks. But what's really interesting is that even Republicans don't like the U.S. Congress anymore. That's right. No, finally today, it's no secret that Congress isn't exactly the most popular institution in America, but Congress sank to a 10% approval rating in a new Quinnipiac University poll released yesterday. So no matter how low that they say Donald Trump's numbers or positive numbers are getting, understand that still, even the GOP-led Congress is lower than that. They're back down into 10. They were at 18%. Now they're back down to 10%. And other poll numbers. Again, I'm not a big believer in polls, but there are other poll numbers out there that show that Democrats are down in the single digits of being liked and approval ratings in Congress. So that says a lot. Actually, it says a whole ton. That even though Congress is at 10%, Democrats are even lower than the general congressional conglomerate. That's pretty good. When you're down at single digits at 5, 6, 7%, that's pretty damn bad. And they expect, maybe that's why they're trying to get new blood. Get rid of some of the old blood. Well, both parties need to get rid of the old blood. In any case, we're out of time, not just for today, unfortunately, but we're out of time for the week. But we will be back here on Monday, God willing. Until then, I hope you have a great Friday afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Maybe I'll see you on the beach. Until then, thanks for tuning in. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For a Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays a victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.